play of the game from way down.
True, silence. Rainer getting absolutely
A team wipe.
The living bomb's going.
Oh my goodness, the ring. Bombstastic gonna find Rainer.
Oh, the life finder keeps Maev up. It was gonna be a close thing.
And healing, what? Get out of no! No!
Triple stun again. Big flanks coming out from the Blaze.
It's a death metal though.
Death metal into the double, triple kill. All right, welcome back everybody to the NGS Rewind. It's Sunday evening. We're going into our final game of the day between Yikes S tier and A-Mei-Zing. I'm your host Arrow, and I'm joined this afternoon by Ziltoid.
Hello, everybody.
So it is afternoon for you, right? You're in Pacific time?
Yeah, it's about almost 4 o'clock.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, so you're Mountain time then?
Yep.
Got it, okay, cool. So last game of the day, it's a heroic match between two teams. You mentioned earlier that Yikes near the top of the division, or at the top of the division. How do things look in general for A-Mei-Zing? How are they playing these days?
A-Mei-Zing is an interesting spot. At the beginning of this season, they actually had posted originally their Smurfs, and then it finally came to light about who was actually on the roster. And you know, here's kind of a peek into that. We have Camille, Tempest, Gronman, Hunter CJR, and Lasai as well. Nukes for Kicks maybe not as well known, or BN, but you know, that is a stacked lineup if I've ever seen it. However, results wise has been telling a bit of a different story. While they did pick up 2 dominations over Moto and you know, that Bro Army due to the dropouts, they did lose 1-2 to our Archon. They lost a 2-0 domination in Nobo, and you know, that it hasn't been giving the results that such a kind of power heavy squad should indicate.
Sure. Well, and it can be a little bit heartbreaking to have to get a domination victory over a team that ultimately then, you know, leaves the division, giving everybody else the same amount of points that you got, right? Especially if you find later that you're not performing as well, getting as many points as you'd like, and then to find that one game that you really had, that 2-0 domination, you were really counting on it, now everybody's got that. So I'm interested to see how this game, or these games, play out, and how this match plays out, especially after seeing a pretty, you know, heavily dominant performance out of Yikes in the last game. Of course, these were both played this week. So, as this is the week 13 flex match. Oh my goodness! Cannot get him to shut up.
Yeah, no, you know, it's hard to say exactly if you know, if A-Mei-Zing can turn it on, then I expect good matches. But just based off of what I've seen from the Yikes S tier so far, the games they've played have seemed super clean. Even when they fall behind in, say, fights or fight here or there, or lose some kills or whatever the case is, they never seem to really lose into positions where it's you know, too devastating for themselves. And they always seem to be able to come out on top in situations that are beneficial to it. And we saw that in both game 1 and 2 in the previous matchup.
So we've got Towers of Doom and Volskaya Foundry as the bans coming out from Yikes S tier. We have Tomb of the Spider Queen and Sky Temple going to be the bans from A-Mei-Zing, and our first game is going to be played on Dragonshire.
Again, we're back to the D Shire. Kind of wish I knew who was the map pick or first pick on that. In fact, I think I can find out.
Oh, I can tell you because I have it pulled up. It was Yikes.
So, you know, and I have a feeling that that was the case too as well in the previous series. So bringing them to the map where they feel like they've got it down. And we saw in game number 1, Yikes S tier had a pretty big stranglehold over game number 1.
Absolutely. Yep. And the Junkrat plays were on point. Yrel was all over the match. Wherever she was needed, she was there. So we'll see how this goes. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm good to go.
All right, let's get into this game number 1. Oh, I probably shouldn't show that yet. And here we go.
There it is again. It's the same composition outside of Tyrande.
Yep.
And that's just because it went to the other side. So Arella against Chen again. And then, but everything else seems a bit different. So it's a different style, definitely, that we see coming out from A-Mei-Zing in this matchup.
Yeah, and I want to say, did they have the ETC? Or did they have Johanna on the last one?
No, they had ETC. Yeah. Wait. Yeah, they had ETC on Dragonchar, for sure.
Johanna was Infernal Shrines, right.
Yeah.
All right, well, go ahead and introduce Yikes.
Alrighty, here we are on the blue side. Yikes, S-tier Jet on the Lunara, Epic player playing the Deckard Cain. We have Shredded Oof playing the ETC, John Knight 1 on Yrel, and Mason Blaze on the Junkrat. And I didn't notice there that Epic player is subbing in for Cubico.
There you go. And for the side of A-Mei-Zing, we've got BN on Tyrande, we've got Gronman on Chen, Tempest is going to be playing Greymane, Hunter CJR on Garrosh, and Lasai on Zeratul.
Well, opening handshake isn't too eventful here at the moment. Looks like we're going to get the throw in on Shredded Oof. He looks like overstepped a little bit, but there's a nice little patch of Gatorade sitting in the water there. Or in the bushes there for him.
Yeah, and we've got the Deckard Pain skin coming out, so of course these canteens a little bit I don't know, a little bit more friendly, I think. I like the canteens more than the potions, personally. So we do see the prog rock for ETC given, and ultimately will give them a little bit more group healing as they have these group fights, and Zeratul gonna get right in onto Jet on this rotation, the throw, and the first blood going over to A-Mei-Zing.
So we saw Yikes S-tier get a little bit split there, actually, on the rotation. And that definitely gave the opportunity for Zeratul to kind of get in there, put some pressure. And Garrosh positioning for the throw was very good.
And Jet calling out, are we about to be exposed as the actual worst team in NGS? I think that's exactly what's happening right here. So both teams getting onto their siege chains.
Dragonchar again.
Yeah, indeed, right? Like, did these guys not ever watch replays, or? Well, I guess they can't watch the replay. They could download the replays, or watch. Look at the replay browser. By the way, there's a replay browser, everybody, in case you were wondering.
Yep. And Heroes Profile saves the details of every past match, and it's all linked on the website.
And it's getting even better as it shows the map picks, who had first pick, map pick, what the bans were. Like, that's all available in Heroes Profile now as well. Oh, there's big rotation from Yikes coming up onto the Chen. And they will get the kill. So 1 for 1 in the kill count.
And this is business as usual from Yikes S-tier. That camp capture, that attempt gank on the top lane. And with the kill on Chen, this should be pretty much a free wall. Like, I don't know if there's enough here to stop that from happening. Although, you know what, Greymane is doing a pretty good job of actually slowing this down, so it doesn't look like it's actually going to get as much value as I originally thought it was going to.
Yeah, and we do have the rotation from Tyrande and Garrosh as well, so ultimately Yikes pulling back, Ping's going out, calling for the Dragon Knight as Deckard is on the bottom point there. Hunter Sage CJR in the bush, but he's by himself. The power slide goes in, the knockback as well. Looks like he does manage to just make it out as BN gets that healing to keep him up.
Yeah, Tyrande shows up just in time, and you know, Garrosh gets harder to kill as his health drops low, and Tyrande's really good at kind of sustaining someone through focus damage. So a bit of a 1-2 there with those particularly healer picks, but we are going to see the rotation from Shredded Oof, Epic player, and Jet into the bottom lane to secure this bottom shrine. While Yrel goes up to duel with Greymane in the top lane, and I think that's a pretty much, you know which way that's going, generally speaking.
Yeah, for sure. So the Dragon now flipped over to the blue side. So Yikes S tier may be able to get this if they can get this Garrosh kill.
And the mine is probably going to secure it. I don't think he can get out of this.
Yeah, and that's, you know what, that's exactly what we've seen. We've seen that actually a fair bit today in other games as well, not just the heroic games. The power of Junkrat's concussion mines really setting things up, setting plays up for the rest of their team.
Yeah, I mean, but and Mason Blaze in particular has been showing his prowess on that hero all day today. So continuing to make sure that those secure the kills and get the advantages they need. No Dragonite still got, but you know, still looks like map control is still quite in favor of Yikes.
So we've got them flipping the shrine again in the top lane. Chen may try to zip over there, but bottom as well now with Zeratul just barely able to prevent. Never mind. Walking away from the ETC, of course. So Chen did get up onto the top shrine, so flips that over to red now. 1-1 as Zeratul now maybe trying to get the bottom, but ETC sniffing that out. And we've got a 4-man rotation into the bot lane.
So we're going to see a bruiser attempt here by Greymane, which is good. They definitely want to start cycling this out through as, you know, Yikes S tier is not allowed any camp on their side to go, you know, unturned. And they constantly kind of shooting these out. They're not going for the aggressive ones. They're just grabbing their own. I think as they could do that. But now BN is actually in a big spot here that could be a problem. And he might still die from the poison damage. I don't know. He's got to get a heal. He doesn't. He does die. That's unfortunate.
And with that kill now, Zeratul also not actually going back, stalling out that Hearth at the last possible second and just using the tap here. Instead going to try to clean up the Siege Giants in the bot lane here. Or at least get some damage on them.
In the top lane with Chen and Greymane, but Greymane feeling like he needs to split off here. And Mason Blaze made a quick rotation to the top lane to guarantee they can clear this up. And 10s are now handily in favor of Yikes S tier. And we see much of the same as we saw before. Mosh Pit, Riptire, Leaping Strike, Sacred Ground, and stay a while and listen.
Garrosh popping the Indomitable, trying to catch up, but not able to get to the ETC other than using that Groundbreaker stun. And Chen holding this bush over here, a little bit aggressive, uses the stagger. Is able to hop away there to safety. And Zeratul manages to flip the bottom temple to prevent Yikes from getting that dragon.
Yeah, definitely, you know, both teams doing a pretty good job of cycling out this objective. Despite Yikes S tier climbing slowly ahead with pick after pick in this game, 3-1 so far, they are still doing a pretty good job, but Decker Kane might now be in big trouble here as Epic player is getting pressured, but as Decker Kane usually does, he's pretty good at keeping himself alive.
So we do have Warlord's Challenge for Garrosh, the Void Prison for Zeratul, the Starfall, Tyrande, Curse Bullet out of Greymane, and Storm Earth and Fire for Chen. And up in the top lane, we've got a 3-man push with that rapidly moving John Knight Yrel, along with a Bruiser camp here. So this is going to be a fort going down for Yikes S tier.
So a little bit slower than last game in their ability to get this down, but the effect still kind of the same. In the end, they get another Bruiser pushing into the top lane, take pretty much easy for it. We do see an engagement though coming down into the bottom here, and I think Epic player is going to go down. So at least a good counter pressure coming out from the side of A-Mei-Zing. And they actually get a double camp here in the bottom that could threaten this fort. We do through a rotation coming through. Garrosh trying to cut off any type of aggression here, and he does get a good flip stun on Mason Blaze. And pressure still mounting here in the bottom lane.
So Chen now rotating down. Yrel on the other side of the wall, though. So looks like they're not quite going to get the fort.
Yeah,
okay.
The defense came full in. You know, the difference being in the top lane, there pretty much was no defense. There was just a Chen. And in the bottom lane, it was 2. They got a pick, but then it turned into 4. And even with camps, that's still a tough thing to kind of push into when both damage dealers are still alive in the form of Lunara and Junkrat. And here comes an engagement onto Garrosh. He's going to be slowed. He's going to get hit. He's going to get behind the wall, and he's going to live.
So Yrel heading up along with Lunara to deal with the Chen. Of course, Zeratul is in the bot lane, making sure to keep the shrine there active. Both now looking to go over to the blue side.
Yeah, they've just been flip-flopping back and forth between these two teams.
And they are going to get the stun onto Lunara, but not quite able to catch up to her with that movement speed. Junkrat might be able to channel this, but he throws Epic Player in just in time to allow Chen to trigger the top.
Yeah, very experienced play by the Garrosh. And Hunter CJ has actually been making quite a bit of plays on this hero that I do quite like. But we do see a siege camp here pressing in, see if they can get a little bit of damage onto the fort, kind of counter out some of the damage that was done to their own. Shredded Oof eating some auto attack damage from Zeratul, but that's really not going to phase him too much. And they're going to continue to push this in. It is a 5-man push into this bottom lane too as well, which rotation advantage means that this fort might be forfeit.
Yeah, and Chen sitting in the mid lane there is getting soak as they're a little bit behind in XP, mostly I think because of the trickle XP, just the passive bonus, because they're not that far behind. But they're down 2 forts, and that's going to cause them problems. The next Dragon Knight, as this fight, or as this game goes on longer, could ultimately lead to what we saw earlier, a kill or two, and then the game's over.
Yeah, and you know, good confidence here from Yikes S tier. They don't feel too nervous about walking into the Garrosh and just stealing whatever camp they feel like.
Yeah, and with the Chen being visible to them elsewhere on the map, they know that they can walk in with all 5 and not really have any issues. Really anywhere that they want to go. Right now they're looking to maybe come into this camp invade. Kind of a whiff on the stay a while, but it looks like Yrel and Lunara are going to head up top and once again try to get in on this Chen.
Lots of burst damage coming out. They might be able to secure the kill here. He does manage to squeak himself away, though, and has to drop the Storm, Earth, and Fire to stay alive. The re-engagement comes back on top of Deckard Cain, and he's actually going to drop here. That Chen OP re-engagement there. Zeratul's going to drop the Void Prison to make sure that Lunara can't get herself away, and that's going to be another kill. But that's a 4-man mosh pit. That's intense, and exactly what you want to see. Shredded Oof showing us how it's done on the hero.
And this should be at least one more kill here as they chase down the Garrosh, eventually catching up. And now the rotation's heading down to get the bottom shrine. Yeah, Tempest has basically full health with the tap there, but I don't know how this goes for him.
It's one of those situations where, you know, you're not like afraid of mosh because you're like, oh, we've got a ton of interrupts, right? And then you get an advantage. You're like, oh yeah, we got a kill, we got a second one on Lunara, everything's safe, and here's going to be a Greymane who was definitely not safe, didn't see the rotation come in, got a little bit desperate for that point, and is actually going to feed out 2 more kills here with Tyrande going down as well. And Lasai might even drop 2 as well if he doesn't nope himself out of there. You know, and that's just the best moment for ETCs to shine, though, where they can just, you know, no one sees it coming. Here's a 4-man mosh pit. Have fun.
And it's, you know, it's that moment that that you look for as an ETC player, you know, because even with multiple interrupts, whether it's the Tyrande stun, the Garrosh, it doesn't matter. Like, you're looking for those opportunities. Chen gonna get obliterated there. With all those...
Yeah, Storm, Earth, and Fire was not available, so no save tool for himself in that situation, and the chain CC was well placed.
So I'm not sure. I think it actually was available, and he tried to pop it, but he got interrupted by the face melt.
Oh, that might have been the case, yeah.
Originally, I thought it wasn't available, but it was on a short cooldown, and I looked at it, it said 10 seconds, so I think that's what happened.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So it was pretty close.
And like you said, Dragon Knight going their way, this is a problem for A-Mei-Zing because that mid fort's gone means they get full map control on this side of the map. And this is a really high health Dragon Knight with fantastic siege damage available. They're going to push right up onto this keep with.
And this is where they're looking to, you know, they're going to take out this keep, eventually when they get these minions. But if they get a kill here, this could be the end of the game for them. Good mosh.
Unfortunately, the Void Prison does not catch Junkrat or ETC, so the mosh pit goes off, lands 2 that you need for your follow-up damage, and the Riptire secures the kill. But we do get a nice counter kill by Lasai onto Jet. And now things are a little bit dire for Yikes S tier. They don't get the keep, and the engagement is coming hard into them. But it might be Lasai dropping here with the Dragon Knight doing a lot of auto attack damage. Gronman's still on the wrong side of the wall here. And everyone's just super low on the side of A-Mei-Zing. What looked like a good engagement into them is now slowly turning into a situation where they could potentially lose the game.
And Storm Earth and Fire finally used by Chen there. He had to really delay it as Shredded Oof was ready that whole time to knock him out of it. But here they come. The Storm Earth and Fire is pretty much done now. And you know, you mentioned earlier about the Tyrande kill. Greymane had all of 100 health when that Riptire went off. If there was just a tiniest amount of damage that could have come out, this would be game at this point, because there's no way, I don't think, that they could have defended that with both the Tyrande and the Greymane down.
Oh yeah, I assure that would be definitely the case. But they do manage to put up a substantially good enough defense to keep both the keep alive and their core alive. And that's good news for A-Mei-Zing. What's not good news for A-Mei-Zing is we have 20s on the horizon here, Yikes S tier. That's going to make making plays on the map very difficult until they secure their own level 20.
Yeah, and that's going to be up in about 15 seconds, 10 seconds, something like that, especially with this wave of minions readily available. With the pressure in both top and bot lane now, and the 20 is available, I mean, this is likely the keep that they just missed a moment ago, as Chen's not here.
Yep, every heroic is up, so we can see a bit of stall out here provided by Void Prison, but we can also see some, you know, counter engage coming in from the mosh pits that have been all very effective so far, and that's the easiest keep of anyone's life, and that's kind of the Lunara effect coming in. You know, I enjoy the hero a lot for her ability to kind of put you into these pressure situations. And yeah, with just a bruiser camp, they're going to feel confident enough to actually push up onto the core. It doesn't seem like a full commit, though, so they're just going to back out. They got the keep. We're poking in to see what else they could get. Realize they don't want this initiation on the core, so they're just going to back up and force A-Mei-Zing to respond to the Dragon Knight attempt.
And they did get the Starfall out though from Tyrande, so they didn't get 0 out of that core push.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. That was definitely nice engagement coming out under Shredded Oof. He has to pop his blink to actually survive, but now it looks like it's what
a Void Prison!
Really good Void Prison, wow. But it's not enough. He's still gonna go down. The damage is gonna tick through. They still picked off Tyrande in the backline. Drawn Knight just getting right in there on them. And that's going to be a 3-for-1, 3-for-0, 4-for-0, I think, eventually at some point here.
And this should be game.
That's probably going to be the end of the game. I think they're just going to go bot and win.
Yeah, I was checking to see if they had wall down in mid, but they didn't, so. Welcome, Bronze League Nate, with the follow of the Nexus Gaming series. We're glad that you could join us for the NGS Rewind. We're at the end of game number 1 between Yikes S tier and A-Mei-Zing. Looking like it's going over to Yikes S tier.
Looks like it. Another dominant map from them. You know, I think that A-Mei-Zing put up maybe a slightly better, a bit of a better fight than Probe 1 did. But in the end, the result was very much the same. And I'm going to highlight it again for the 3rd time in a row. Mason Blaze on that Junkrat is absolutely a problem, and people need to ban it.
Right? There's two matches in a row where we've seen the Junkrat just cause chaos. Although...
3!
Well, 3 maps, yeah. I was saying matches, like the whole overall, but yeah. No, we're good. We're good. So Junkrat, you mentioned before about the siege damage. He far and away the king of siege damage in this game as well at 143k. 50% over the Zeratul at 92.
And also far and away in hero damage at almost 50,000, where his closest competition was Lunara at 38 and Aurel at 28. I mean, really, the damage is really where you can see the difference in this matchup for sure.
Yep. And taking a quick look at the talents, so we did get level 20s for Yikes. We did not quite get there. They were just a little bit off for A-Mei-Zing. But we can imagine what they would have taken. And that stay a while, you know, at the end, the Respect the Elderly was just brutal. That was on to 3. The Void Prison helping to keep the Riptire from causing the deaths there, but ultimately, obviously, not enough. The extra couple of seconds of silence and blind just prevented them from doing anything into that fight at that point.
Yeah, I've actually had it talked about the matchup between Tyrande and Deckard, and it's the same conversation that you have about Malfurion. In a way, those two healers sometimes can be considered kind of like good picks into her because of the amount of CC that they provide, and their sustained throughput healing is still significantly better.
Not only that, but the type of CC being roots, she can't cleanse those.
Exactly.
So it's not just the amount of CC, but also the type of CC.
It's probably more so the type than the amount, but yeah. You're probably more correct than I was saying. Yes.
We can both be correct. It's all right. So game number 2, where did we go for game number 2 last time?
We went to Infernal Shrines.
Yeah, guess where we're going?
Infernal Shrines, of course.
Of course.
Map pick, who did it?
The map pick on this one was, let me tell you. It doesn't show, unfortunately.
Oh,
yeah, I tried to pop it up, but the hero's profile information did not pop up.
Sometimes the link doesn't work.
Yeah, so
I found that out the other day. But you know what? I'm gonna have a feeling, and there's no way to prove this, that it. Well, there is. Obviously, people in chat could tell us, but I think it was picked by A-Mei-Zing.
Probably. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into game number 2, making sure that they're on the right side. They are. Thank you. I just want to say thank you to the teams out there, especially with replay casting. It makes our life a lot easier when you put yourselves on the correct side. That's all I'm saying. Right, Ziltoid?
Absolutely. And apparently, we have been informed that it was Jet, in fact, that picked Infernal Shrine.
Well, there you go.
I don't know. I think we're going to see a game for Junkrat.
You think so?
Calling it right here.
I didn't look before I switched the page, so I'm going to be just as surprised as you.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see it right here.
Here we go.
Oh! I was wrong.
Oh, they swapped sides. Oh, you guys are killing me.
Yep. There goes the troll.
I was just saying how nice you guys were. I'm gonna switch all this.
I'm liking this though. It's a nice change of pace.
What, being on the other side? Oh, the no Junkrat.
The no Junkrat. So I guess I'll introduce the blue side just because that's what I've been doing so far.
All right.
So we have A-Mei-Zing, Tempest on the Greymane, Lasai on the Genji, BN exclamation mark on the Anduin, Hunter CJR on the Nubrak, and Grommen on the Imperius. Very interesting comp.
All right. And for Yikes S tier, we've got John Knight on Yrel, Mason Blaze on Maiev, Epic Player is going to be on Tyrande, Jet is going to be Sylvanas, and Shreddadoof on Diablo. And let the battle begin.
So, not an ETC or a Johanna. We get a Diablo, but this is good. Diablo is fantastic on this map. Jet picks up the Sylvanas, which is nice. I really like Sylvanas in the sense that it really can pressure structures when you win objectives. And then Maiev is just generally a great hero in expert hands and can be a real problem to deal with. And as we can see right now, wave clear is substantially in favor of Yikes S tier.
Yeah, and we do see here Diablo was looking at maybe trying to move forward, interrupt the rotation, but unlike the Johanna from last game, doesn't quite have the same survivability at this stage of the game as Diablo, being low on the health pool, not having that iron skin that Johanna has. So they did get a little bit of damage out there, but ultimately, like you said, the rotations are just a little bit faster for Yikes S tier.
Yeah, we actually see A-Mei-Zing trying to interrupt the bottom rotation here, but good rotation by them to just make sure that they don't get caught on that. And the time actually spent trying to stop that rotation meant that they lost about 4 or 5 minions in the mid lane.
And we do see both teams on the siege camp, although Yikes a little bit ahead. Once again, just like on the rotations here. But they will secure it. They're not going to get a camp invade. Taking a look at Diablo Souls, he's at 29.
And yeah, that's the thing about Diablo is he has stages that he plays throughout the game. Early stages just, protecting the rotations and soak up as many minions as he possibly can to get to that level, that 100 souls mark. If you can find a pick here or there, obviously nice to catapult you through, but no reason to take the risk. We see a good pull in on Tempest, but it was right near the wall, so they couldn't really push him out too far out of position. But Under CJR is actually the one in trouble there, and he goes down to the pressure from Yikes S tier. First kill going to them.
And that's going to give them a pretty good value here. I wouldn't be surprised after they clear this up to see them maybe even get the bottom camp, but never mind. They're going to go to the Shaman camp, sounds like. But up in the top lane, which I was looking at just at the beginning of that kill, we've got John Knight and Gronman. Gronman a little bit behind here, not necessarily like in the lane, although he is a little bit behind now, but definitely in the mana. Doesn't have quite the same sustain that Yrel has, especially at this level.
Yeah, I actually think, generally speaking, when you look at this matchup between the two of them, Yrel actually is going to scale really well into this. The thing about Imperius is he excels at being able to stick on targets long enough for his damage to kind of come through. And Yrel's kit is completely designed to stop that from happening.
Yeah, knocking people away, bouncing around, also self-healing, and then she gets the additional movement speed talent at 7. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and she has better wave clear too. So yeah,
right,
add that
right.
on top of the list.
So 67 souls for Diablo. He's starting to become a little bit beefy here. We do have the Impalers going in the bot lane and the Shaman camp in the top lane here. Opposite pressure as the Imperious Celestial charge in does get the stun onto Mason Blaze. Disappears with that Shadow of Vengeance.
Yeah, Mayap's a slippery character. It got a little hairy there. She got the pull in on Imperious, or at least grabbed the tether onto him. But as soon as she landed that tether, you saw the engagement call come through, and that's where CGR dived with the follow-up from Lasai. But we see now the pressure really being applied to Shredded Oof, and he's in big trouble. He goes down there. Under CGR barely survives the engagement himself. The Mason Blaze looking to see if he can get a few Q resets, but is actually continuing to land them. Diablo might be back in time for them to be able to still contest this, as the clear on the side of A-Mei-Zing is not good. It's very slow.
Yeah, so Diablo at 73, so not quite enough to get that Soulstone reset to bring him back into the fight. And just taking a look here, 22 to 22 on the Shrine so far, and here comes Diablo.
And this is the kind of a hairy situation for A-Mei-Zing, because both their front liners are actually quite low. And it looks like Rodman is in big trouble and is going to die here. Dagger Bill doing what he can to actually get the kill. Epic Player being pressured by Genji, but he gets knocked away and now slammed into the wall. And that is where playing Genji gets a little bit hairy when you've got to go up against two frontliners like Diablo and Rel.
And the Impalers in the bot just about cleared up here. They got about 80% of one of the towers, but that's it. This Punisher definitely going to get more value than that. As it leaps in onto Hunter CJR, he's got to back out now as just so much damage coming out from the Punisher. Wall as well about to go down here between the Punisher and Sylvanas with her black arrows, just melting these structures.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was talking about kind of at the start when we were looking at the draft, is that Sylvanas, when you're winning the Punishers with her, she makes them count and really gets value out of it. And what would often be defended here in the top lane is undefended. But Shredded Oof, with his full stacked souls, is a little bit too far on the enemy team's side, and he might not walk away with them this time. They're doing their best to apply as much damage and to feel him out. And he might get away, but it looks like he is going to go down eventually here. But they do get 2 to 3 kills off of that, so probably worth.
The fan of knife resets were absolutely just critical there to providing the damage that they needed to get those 2 frontliners down. And now a Genji.
That kill was epic reel worthy. John Knight just totally anticipating the positioning of Lasai on that Genji gash. He just gets in there, gets the hammer smash, and then Goomba stomps his face into the floor.
Wow. It was in the corner, but I did manage to catch it on the stream.
That was a very good read.
All right, so everybody's back up for both teams, but level 10's available for Yikes S tier. We've got that Lightning Breath, the Wailing Arrow, the Starfall, Sacred Ground, and Warden's Cage.
Yeah, and no talent tier 10s yet for the side of A-Mei-Zing. And we can see this Khazar camp being leveraged so well. And they might actually be able to just steal a fort with 10s here, as A-Mei-Zing does not want anything to do with any, upfront confrontation with the squad at this moment.
Yeah, for sure. Getting a Warden's Cage plus that Lightning Breath and Wailing Arrow would be devastating to this team at this point.
Oh, wow. That engagement was just textbook. Shredded Oof finding the stun on the tower underneath the wall was just absolutely devastating. And this is the thing about Maiev, too, as well, is the follow-up to any type of stun chain just makes it almost impossible to deal with because she just pulls you right back into where you don't want to be.
Level 10's now available for A-Mei-Zing. What do you think on these?
Might still be a forfeit fort as the 2 frontliners can't make the rotation down. And it's a little bit too risky for the 3 of them to actually step up into this Diablo.
So we do have all 5 of A-Mei-Zing coming in with the Cocoon. They're trying to get in onto the Maiev, but the Umbral Tether, or Umbral Bind, whatever it is, anyways, pulls 2 of them back in. Imperius popping Angelic Armaments. There goes the Warden's Cage, pulling into the Lightning Breath into them. Gronman looking to go down. And the X-Strike from Genji, but no completed kills there for A-Mei-Zing. Just the one for Yikes. A lot of R buttons,
yeah,
though.
I mean, in the end, that was an engagement from A-Mei-Zing, starting with the Cocoon. But their kill target was Maiev, who Mason Blaze just expertly used all of his cooldowns appropriately, dodged all of the damage that was coming in on him, and any of the stuff that he did face take was easily healed up by Epic Player. And then they just flipped it around into a Warden's Cage engagement with a Wailing Arrow, re-tethered into the middle, and then just stomped around on by the squad of Yikes S tier. They're really playing on another level this game.
So we do see both teams getting their Shaman Camp. 39 of the Skeletal Defenders completed from a Yikes S tier, so they can pick this up at any time.
I really like this play from them, as they can, exactly, they can take their time, make sure that they don't get behind on the macro. We saw actually what A-Mei-Zing was trying to do there was maybe steal some camps to apply pressure during the Punisher, but the fact that it's at 39 means that it's ever scoped out. They just snag the unit, or they just wait, take the fight, kill you, and then grab the Punisher.
So the Burrow Charge keeping Anubarak safe as the Frozen Punisher leaps over, shuts down the towers, and Sylvanas doing so as well. So she won't be able to do that forever on the keep here, but long enough to keep it locked down. Punisher still at half health.
This is kind of what we talked about in the last matchup against Probe 1, was the fact, although we do see an engagement coming out from Anubarak to see if he can actually snake the Os, but it might actually be a problem here. He's actually going to die. Gronman gets saved by Anduin, drops his Angelic Armaments anyways to stay alive. But the point there was that Frozen Punishers are nasty because you have to just clear them. The keeps are never going to help you. And when you add a Sylvanas on top of that, like, they just stay alive for forever.
And we see the Diablo Shadow Charge in onto Imperius. The Lunar Flare getting him because he walked back into it. And now a staggered death coming out from Imperius. Level 13 up for Yikes S tier is now they're going to start working toward Genji in the bot lane. He's going to go ahead and Swift Strike away.
Yeah, Genji doing a good job not to get himself hit by the owl that Epic player threw out there. But taking advantage of being a man down, they're going to use the Sylvanas trait to get the advantage that you can out of this hero. And again, it's hard to get through those two frontliners. And even if you do, you got a Maya to deal with after that.
So we do see the Cocoon going out onto Yrel, but they only have... Oh my goodness. So that was a good Light Bomb stun onto John Knight. He gets rooted. I don't know that they can get the kill, though. X-Strike going out into the back.
Got incredible value. He didn't die. He just flat did not die.
Grodman trying to get away from 3. Jet by himself going up against Hunter, CJR, and BN. And now 3 more of Yikes S tier coming here, getting the Lunar Flare onto Anubrak, the save from that Leap of Faith. This should be a nice, easy keep for them. They may even be able... I don't know. They can't really go for core with
Death
Yrel.
timers are pretty low, but
they have
catapults.
16s.
So... yeah, catapult 16s, 2 lanes pushing. It's kind of hard to say if this is the appropriate time for a core call.
And it looks like they're backing away. They don't quite get that keep. The Cursed Bullet missing because of the Impale. But that Warden's Cage should keep Shredded Oof alive. Maybe? Maybe not. Looks like Shredded Oof is taking them on a merry chase, making use of those souls, because he'll be right back.
Yeah, it does suck to lose those souls in that situation, but they did find themselves caught out. The one thing about Amazing's team composition is that it does have very good stickiness. It's hard to walk away. We don't have superior mobility necessarily from Yikes S tier to get away. Both Diablo and Tyrande can be picked off in those types of situations. But like you said, Diablo's already back. They still do have a 16 tier advantage, which still makes any fight that they do take a scary thing.
And up here in the top, where the healthiest keep is available, we've got a Mortar Shrine activating. Level 16s, as you mentioned. I'll go ahead and pop those up on the screen here. And we've got A-Mei-Zing coming in here saying, you know what, we don't think we can defend at the keep on this, so we're not going to wait for 16. We're just going to come in and try to take a fight now instead.
Always a gamble for this, but with Sylvanas, it definitely makes you have to make this call in a lot of situations. There goes the Light Bomb trying to, but it only lands on a Rel who did pop her Sacred Ground, and look at that, just sitting at huge amounts of health. Huge stun coming on CJR is going to make sure that he goes down. Lasai almost getting picked off as well. John Knight just running at them with that hammer raised, looking to see if it can pick someone else off, but they're just going to disengage and secure this this shrine.
I kind of wonder if the Light Bomb went onto the right target, because they were all kind of clustered together there, and, you know, Genji did Swift Strike in at the time that you would expect it to have been if he had the Light Bomb on him, and that would have been a little bit more of a favorable aspect for them, because he went into like 2 or 3 right there.
Yeah, I think my eyes are tricking me. It was one of 2 things. The Light Bomb went off, but the Swift Strike wasn't off cooldown at the appropriate time, so it blew when he was halfway through his Swift Strike, so it only landed on a Rel. And or it was put on Imperius by accident because they were kind of standing really close to each other.
Right.
I don't know which one it was.
So Mortar Punisher, but again, we do still have Sylvanas, so she shuts down the keep. Punisher electing to go for that well first. You know, it's valuable.
And Mortar Punisher these days does an absolute ridiculous amount of damage. And we actually see that. Here comes the Light Bomb, lands onto 2. Is probably enough to actually kill Shredded Oof, and this is the counter engage that we were hoping to see come out. But again, that Sacred Ground just doing things tons for Irel there. She stays alive, gets the stuns out, then the follow-up damage is there and picks off the Greymane. And that's going to be a 2-for-1. Things going from bad to worse for A-Mei-Zing, and I think this might be the end of the game.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way, as the Punisher melting the core. We've got Mason Blaze, John Knight, and Epic Player all getting that damage, as game number 2 going over to Yikes S tier. I don't know why it's so hard to say. Do you ever have problems saying their name? Maybe it's just me.
S tier? No.
I don't know why. I say the name and I'm just like, yeah.
It's just like we were trying to say Exterminator Rainer very fast.
I can see that.
Exterminator Rainer. Exterminator Rainer. I don't know. I seem to be able to do it.
So I want to point out here, look at the Sylvanas hero damage compared to the next highest on A-Mei-Zing. 34k from Imperius, 61k almost from Sylvanas. Absolutely just brutal.
There's a simple explanation for this, and it's that Sylvanas was really never pressured in that game. Despite all of the dive attempts that went through, they still seem to be centered mostly around the frontliners like Diablo, Irel, or Maiev, who just shrugged off the damage in a lot of situations, or ate it like Diablo did, but generally long enough for the Sylvanas to just turn the fights around with a ridiculous amount of counter damage.
Yeah, 127 stacks coming out of Sylvanas on that level 1 talent, so that's pretty crazy. Pretty impressive on the damage there.
Yeah, we saw it today. Yikes S tier taking 2-2-0 dominations. They looking like a scary team right now.
Absolutely. And you know what? They did it without Junkrat.
Yep.
They were able to...
In fact, that Maiev was really good. I mean, the amount of follow-up pulls, the ability to stay alive in a lot of the situations where a lot of weaker players, including myself, would probably have died.
Yeah.
Definitely a testament to his skill on that hero. For
sure. Yep. That bot lane juke, which ultimately, turned around into a kill. I don't remember who died, but somebody died. I think it was Imperius maybe. But yeah, I mean, they were able to capitalize on the Anubarak positioning often, and really, make those plays just every single game, every single engagement, almost every single engagement was a win for them, whether they created it or not. So really fantastic play out of Yikes. A-Mei-Zing, doing their absolute best to stay in that. Also, Probe won in the game earlier. But Yikes is a beast to contend with, and there's a reason that it's at the top of standings. In fact, we can even show standings now since we're at the end. Yeah, there they are. Yikes S tier at the very top. Keanu Reeves, Celeb Gaming, Mismos skill shots just barely behind them with 15 points behind the Yikes S tier 16 points. So definitely some games to watch coming up soon between those teams, right? Because you said that they have played some of those or not?
They beat Keanu Reeves 2-1.
Which is where they got the 1 point advantage.
And then they also went 2-1 with Archon. I'm trying to remember.
Gotcha.
I'll just pull it up.
It's not that big of a deal.
Again, the website's awesome. People should definitely use it. They went 2-1 against Archon.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they've dominated the other two they've actually played, because of course Bro Army and Moto don't count.
Right.
And that's that's a good start. But yes, they do still have certain teams that should be a good challenge left over in this division. Specifically, we have BBW, which I think is coming up this week, which is definitely something that people should watch, as BBW is the current second seed. Though given matches played, that could all kind of swap around a little bit. And then they haven't played Celeb Gaming, and they haven't played Mismo Skill Shots.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are all of those teams are significant threats. But if we see Yikes S tier pull off matches like we saw today, I don't think they have a whole lot to worry about.
Indeed. Well, that's gonna wrap us up here for today. Got through 5 matches from C East, B East, and Heroic. Ziltoid, it's been a pleasure. I'm glad that you could join me for the second half of the day here. Anything that you want to say to the general public at home there?
It's a shame and it hurts my heart, but I'll probably not overtake Eric for the most amount of cast this season, as he's a beast, and it's unfortunate, but it is the truth.
If you can't beat them, join them, right?
And that is kind of the idea. I figure I can make up at least a few of the casts here, coming in on the Sundays and stealing some of your thunder. But joking aside, it's always a pleasure, and I enjoy casting a whole lot. So follow this man on his channel. Come check out the Rewind. We appreciate the audience, and I love this addition to NGS, putting some focus onto the replay casts, so no one really feels like they're getting left out.
Yeah, and I think that
Arrow's the man to thank for that, guys. Just so you know.
Thank you, Ziltoid. And where can they follow you, Ziltoid?
I'm pretty much at LD Ziltoid at every platform, like Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. I obviously stream and cast, so come on, check out my channel if you're ever feeling up to it. I like to play Heroes of the Storm and various other games, but of course my main focus being casting here for NGS, and hopefully intending to keep that up for the remainder. Although I will be missing out most of the casts on Thursday, as I have a match that day, and it's my birthday.
All right, well, there you go. Well, good luck with your match. You guys can follow my page at twitch.tv/arrowofthestorm. My Twitter is at Warrior Arrow, although I don't use it much other than to post the schedule for the week. Thanks very much for joining us, everybody, for the NGS Rewind. This is it's a platform to help make sure that we get as many games casted throughout the week. I believe, yeah, actually, we are still at 100% of our games being casted either as live or replay through today, although I think there might be one or two today that are not going to get cast, so we'll pick those up this week. Everybody, thanks for joining us this afternoon or evening, depending on where you are, and we'll see you again next week.